you should not spend any money on advertising and search engines and so on if you don't have a landing page that carries them through that buying journey smoothly, exactly what they expected, take the next step, super easy. I mean, my whole philosophy about selling is that you have to make it easy for them to buy. And if you look at Amazon, say what you want about Bezos and whether you like him or not.
Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak. Thank you for listening to the show. I would love if you could give us your opinion on how you felt about the show, your experience that you have in regards to what we've been talking about. I am having an absolute blast, but your input is like dynamite on that explosion. So give us your input. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Give us everything you got. We love it. Thanks. I hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelak, and I'm super glad to have you here with us today because I am here with my amazing guest, Kristin. Kristin, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Nice to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. So give us a highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
I run a digital marketing agency. We help clients sell more. I actually spent decades as a revenue coach. Actually started out selling machine shop tools. I think I was the first woman in the United States to do that back when I was 17. And it taught me that you really needed to understand what you were selling. And I had one humiliating experience where I just couldn't tell this machine shop manager why my drill bit was better than the one he was using. And I went out to the parking lot and I thought to myself, I'm going to learn everything I can about tech and selling. And I've been doing it ever since. My husband and I opened an ad agency in Silicon Valley way back in the day. We helped introduce most of the technologies that we use today. And then I spent about, 20 years or more being a revenue coach, where I would go in and do marketing and sales department turnarounds for companies of all sizes. I've written a book called Roadmap to Revenue, How to Sell the Way Your Customers Want to Buy. I'm one of the first people that figured out that it's all about their buying journey and we need to support it rather than just selling the way we want to sell, which doesn't work. So that's where we are now. And I love what I'm doing, and it's just so much fun to help people get more qualified leads, which is what we do every day.
I love it. Obviously, well, and I think that you're the only other person I've met that's gone from consulting to coaching to running a digital marketing agency. It's like, we've done it backwards. I don't know why we did it backwards.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Works for us.
Yeah.
So who do you love to serve and support now? Who's your ideal client?
Well, we have a lot of clients that are our favorite clients, I would say, but typically we service companies that are 2 to 50 million. And our most common client is someone who has a well-established company and they have a good product and good people and they're doing a lot of things right, but they are like deer in the headlights when it comes to digital marketing. It's just moving too fast. It's too complex. There's too many people in it that don't want to explain what they're doing. They just want them to leave them alone in their little cave and do the work. So we do a lot of education. Usually they've spent a whole lot of money and time and everything on methods that aren't working. And they're just worried and disgusted because they know they have to get good at this, but it's not working. So the first thing I do, and one of the things that differentiates us from other agencies, is I interview their customers. And I talk about this in my book quite a bit. When I was a revenue coach, I used to go to companies and they would say, here are the things that are important to our clients, and be a list, and prioritized list. And then I'd go interview their customers and discover their list was completely different. So everything they were doing was off target. So they weren't speaking to the customer. So that's the first thing we do is we interview some customers or dealers or distributors, whoever they're doing business with, and come back to them with this big, long transcripted report. Says, okay, here's what everybody said in answer to this question. So they can see the trends and they can't deny or argue with those trends. And sometimes they say, oh, well, we kind of knew that, but we didn't think it was a priority, whereas it's number one thing to the customers. So that helps drive everything we do, the content that we create, the campaigns. We also find out where people would expect to find them, so we don't waste money on channels where their customers are not. And then we just keep fine tuning. We have great copywriters and people that do all of the channel work, the social work, the development, all of that. And we make sure that we're still, reaching the right kind of customers and avoiding the ones that we don't want. And it's great.
Nice. I love that. So when you're working with somebody, and like, what does that look like? Do they have to have anything prepared for you going in it? Are they, I guess, do you have kind of fundamentals of what you're going to be doing while you're working with them?
Now, it differs from client to client. I mean, these are smart business people. They appreciate process and teamwork. I do have one rule. I don't work with jerks. So,
good rule.
Yeah.
I like that one.
And I even have a jerk test that I won't tell you about because I don't want jerks to know about it. But I can tell early on if somebody's a jerk or not, even before I take them on as an account. And because we work in a jerk-free environment, we don't have clients making, I define a jerk as somebody, or a diva, same thing, who makes life harder on other people. Whereas the nice people try to make things easier on other people. So I have a whole team of people who try to help each other all day, and clients who try to help us. And we come in the middle of their movie, we figure out what they've done, what they're selling, who their people are. We just understand everything about what they bring to the party. And then we go out, interview the customers, come back with these reports, the conversation report, and then a summary and recommendations report. And then based on that, we build out their program, give them estimates, and we're off to the races.
Nice. Love it. So, and are you doing everything from the creative, fulfillment, tracking, like everything? Nice.
Yep.
Right. So give us an example of one of your Cinderella stories.
One of my Cinderella stories.
Of one of your clients, of course.
Yeah. One of our clients, there's a couple of them. There's more than a couple, but one that comes to mind is we have a client who sells luxury yacht cruises. And they run anywhere from like 100,000 a week to $1 million a week or something. I mean, it's really for people who have the kind of money. Obviously, a lot of celebrities and people like that. So part of the challenge with her is making sure that we don't end up with her answering a lot of inquiries from people that just don't have that kind of money and are just sort of hunting around playing games and gathering the digital equivalent of brochures these days. And making sure that they understand how it works. So we do a combination of social with them and content. The content's really been important. We keep working on the number of keywords they're being found for. And we do a lot of very detailed research on SEO to look at the competition and the phrases that they get clicks for. I don't care much about impressions where they just show up on the page. I want to know what they get traffic for. And we build our whole content strategy around that. So they've just been running their business. I mean, this actually happens all across the board. Once we get everything put in place and we start moving, the momentum. I was listening to one of your other podcasts and she was saying it takes 18 months. I don't agree with that. I think it's more like 6. But for things to really be rolling and everything to be in place. But you really start seeing that momentum building and they get the kind of leads they want. Same thing is happening. We have a client who sells liquid nitrogen to research companies and cryogenic people in California. And he had cash flow problems and was really struggling. And we've got him going on what we're doing. And now we're sort of working back on his back end side of it with the CRM and making sure that he responds to people quickly and sort of automatically so that he can save his time. So we're helping him build more efficiency into his business. I'm basically a process freak because I am married an engineer and he, being in business with him, I learned the hard way that it really does work to systematize your business. So those are examples. We work with B2B, B2C, doesn't matter, business to business, business to consumer, e-commerce.
Would you
Doesn't matter.
agree that usually the advertising tends to work better the more you put on it? And not to say that it becomes a bonfire, but that if you're, depending on kind of what your outcomes are, that there really is kind of a sweet spot of you have to put so much money in it in order to get those responses back in that 6-month period.
Yeah, but it is scalable. I mean, you
Yeah.
can start out with a very small budget and get the language right and the response right, and just get the machine running.
Yeah.
And then you can increase as you can grow. I mean, one of the things we are careful about, even with my own business, since we're a service company, I make sure I don't grow faster than we can deliver. So, that's one of the things that we work with clients, is they get that right rhythm going for their business. But we do find with some ad programs, Google Ads in particular, you can start spending more and it doesn't make that much difference, because now you've capped out to the amount of traffic that goes searching for those keywords or who are interested in that topic.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a niche market, and there's only a certain number of people in that market making, searching for those phrases. But it differs for every client. You have to watch all your numbers. I mean, we watch it all like a hawk. Every week we're looking through the stats with them, figuring it out.
Yeah.
And then you make decisions.
Nice. Are there certain budgets that you're looking at working? Like, if it's not this kind of a ad spend, then you won't work with them? Or is it?
No, I don't have a limit. Again, the size of the company and the fact that they're established. I spent so many years in Silicon Valley that I kind of got burned out on startups. So we don't work with many startups. I'm more than happy to give advice to entrepreneurs, something I do in my spare time because I love entrepreneurs. But the cash flow issues and the decision making are just so ragged with
Yes,
startups. It's a little tough to just keep the machine running,
Right. But you haven't found that there's, like, if somebody has an ad spend of $10,000, that's kind of your starting spot, and then you can move up from there, or you haven't found any of that?
You can start out at $10 a day and see how it works and get it fine tuned up $20, $30, and then start getting up to $100 or whatever. So no, we don't really restrict our business based on that.
Very cool. And yes, very much the messaging and the landing pages and the messaging on the landing pages, making sure they match.
Yeah.
That's a big one that I found, is that if the ads themselves don't match up with the landing pages, which seems like a very obvious thing to do, but I've noticed so many times when I go and click on something, and if it's not the thing that I was interested in, it's like, oh, okay.
No, it feels like bait and switch. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't really, you should not spend any money on advertising and search engines and so on if you don't have a landing page that carries them through that buying journey smoothly, exactly what they expected, take the next step, super easy. I mean, my whole philosophy about selling is that you have to make it easy for them to buy. And if you look at Amazon, say what you want about Bezos and whether you like him or not, but the truth is that he based his whole company, and I watched him when he first started way back when, and I thought to myself, because I was in the tech industry, I thought, wow, this is the first time somebody's opened a tech company where the product wasn't the center. It was the process that was the center. It was the infrastructure. And that really fascinated me. And I kept watching what he was doing. If you go to Amazon, they do everything you can think of to make it easier for you to buy, including questions answered by other customers and other products like this. And people who bought this also bought that. And I mean, it's just amazing how many ways they've made it so that on that product page, you've got plenty of help. And honestly, 90% of the companies in the world are not even close to what Amazon's done to make it easy to buy, even though they're out there for everybody to see. But it's a big commitment.
Absolutely. Well, and I've also found that in the buying of things, a lot of people, before they come to us, make it really hard for the customer to buy off of them. It's like, well, they can book a discovery call with us. Well, is that how your audience usually buys from you? And they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm not thinking so. Like, that's probably
that's
not
why
the
we
thing.
interview customers. We want to dissect their buying process. We want to reverse engineer a successful buying process and then create more of them in quantity. And the only way you can do that is to talk to customers. Everybody makes assumptions. They guess. Guessing is not profitable. It's a mess. It's terrible. And you know what? As buyers, we know that. As buyers, we look at something and we go, even at Amazon, you can go to Amazon and you can't find the specifications, the dimensions of a product, for example. And you're like, okay, well, it's a physical object. Why can't they tell me, how many inches is it? So it's sad how big of a gap there is between the seller and what they serve up to the buyer and what the buyer actually needs.
Yes, I was going on a rant the other day about people selling digital products or digital events and not putting the time zone on their
yeah.
Like, really?
That's a perfect example. Yeah, it's a perfect example. One of the things I wrote after I wrote my book was a guide that I call mindset driven marketing, because I was really getting tired of people talking about personas. The problem with personas is an 80-year-old guy could buy the same blender as an 18-year-old guy, and their reasons would be exactly the same, but the demographics are completely different. So it doesn't really help you understand the buying process. To me, the mindset of the buyer when they set out to buy is the most important thing. And I've defined that as their desires, their concerns, and their questions. And if you address those three things, like when they come to your website, the first thing they see is, okay, they get me, they know what I'm looking for. These are my desires and these are my concerns. This is where I've had problems in the past. I tried to get this, didn't work or whatever. These are my concerns. And then these are the questions that I have. If you address all of those, you're going to make the sale because nobody else is doing it. It's sad.
So is nobody else calling their clients to find out what their clients actually bought from them or why?
Nope.
Wow.
90% of the companies honestly, of course, people come to me because they know that makes sense and they aren't doing it. So that I have a skewed audience, but I've worked for hundreds and hundreds of companies and interviewed thousands of customers. And this is so rare and it's really disgusting. And what it comes down to is nobody really wants the customer to tell them, because then they're going to have to change things.
Right.
And they don't want to do that.
We don't want to change things. Why would we want to do that? Well, and as business automators, we find that they have so much. Typically, businesses will have so many silos of data that marketing isn't talking to sales. Sales may know the answer to it, but marketing is going, oh, but we have this thing and we want to do it this way. It's like, well, if you talk to each other, probably find some things out about your clients.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And I've been on both sides. I've done sales and marketing, and there's a big frustration by the salespeople because they do get closer to that mindset than the marketing people do. But there's another problem. I've had CEOs say to me, okay, well, our salespeople are talking to customers all the time, so I don't need this kind of research. And I'd say, okay, when was the last time you told a salesperson what you were really thinking when you set out to buy? And the CEO goes, okay, never mind. You can make the calls. Okay. Right. Because when we're buying, we're playing poker. We're not telling the salespeople. The salesperson can completely blow it in the sales call.
Fair enough.
And we're not going to say, oh man, you just blew it. I'm not going to buy from you. No, we're very polite. We say, thank you. Yes, call me next week. It's fine. But then you go back to your computer and start searching again. And they've lost the sale and they don't even realize it. So yes, there are wonderful salespeople that understand their customers. I'm not saying that. I've had them work for me. They're great, but it's rare that they'll actually listen and then try to adjust.
Well, and that they're asking the right questions. So depending to your point, how they've been trained, if they're not asking what brought you here today, then it's probably won't know. And they're not going to know that answer. So talk to me a little bit more about the book. What's the name of the book and kind of concepts in it?
I wrote the book to be a prescription because I knew after these thousands of interviews for hundreds of companies that I had worked out a method for making these calls and doing these interviews, what worked, what didn't, very specifically. And chapter 3 of the book says, okay, here's how you get them on the phone. Here's why you use the phone and you don't do it in person. And this is methods better and blah, blah. I give you exact instructions on how to conduct these interviews. I want everybody in the world to be able to know how to do this. And then I talk about how you present the findings and you sit with your group and you turn it into strategy and all that. And then there are chapters devoted to the 4 types of buying processes in the world. And they're based on the amount of scrutiny that the customer applies to the purchase. So there's light scrutiny, medium scrutiny, heavy scrutiny, or intense, heavy scrutiny and intense scrutiny. Light scrutiny is see it, buy it, cost $1 to $10, you know, the candy bar at the checkout counter or a cheap little software program or something. Nobody else is involved in the buying decision, and there's only a few questions. When I go through this, by the way, everybody knows where they fit. The medium scrutiny are the things like in the consumer world, it's like clothing. Okay, you've got several questions. Probably nobody else is involved in the buying decision. It's probably like $10 to $200 or $300 unless you're a celebrity and you spend $2,500 on a dress or something. And then there's heavy, where there's a contract, there's a salesperson, we're talking houses, cars, that kind of thing in the consumer world, and expensive software in the business world, things like that. And then intense is when you do all of those things, but you get married. You're in it for the long haul. And that's basically my business, probably yours too, where they get married, they work with you, you become partners in a project of some sort. The questions that people ask and the answers that satisfy them are specific to those types of buying processes. And I devote a lot of time in my book explaining those. So you can go to your section and say, okay, how does this buying process work? In my scrutiny category.
Very cool. I love it. I'm super excited about it. And is it typically, so my brain goes to, okay, so what about personality types? And how does this fit in? My brain just went 5,000 miles away. But I'm thinking that with the evidence that you have, that really is kind of the lock and socket, if you want to put it that way, is if you know this, you're probably going to take care of the other aspects of sales that are, that could or have traditionally been put into the sales process as well.
Yeah, all of this, I mean, I'm a student of psychology, have been for my whole life. And I'm an empath kind of person who helps people on the side. And what I found, even when one-to-one marketing came out, I thought, you know what the problem is? And people talked about a relationship, how you want to build a relationship with your customer. But honestly, as I say in my book, nobody wants the car dealer showing up for dinner. Okay. I mean, we don't buy things to make friends. We buy things because we want some problem to be solved. We have a desire, we have a need that we want met by somebody or something. And we want it to be as efficient as possible. We go in, we find out what we need to find out. The people who answer our questions are most likely to get the sale. And that's it, we're done. We aren't searching. I mean, if you want new friends or lovers, you go to Tinder or Match or something. It's not the same. So the whole personality thing is just not where it's at. We're not trying to manipulate these people or psychoanalyze them.
I'm just thinking that when I make a decision, I'm looking for my information. I make decisions very quickly. I also am married to an engineer who makes decisions very slowly and has to scrutinize everything.
Yeah, understood.
Like, and if they gave me that much information, I'd be like, dude, I can't stay here that long. I have meetings. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that definitely factors in the sense that when you're actually selling to somebody and that person's across from you on a desk or something, yes, you have to understand who they are. If it's an engineer, you've got to be patient, really patient. I mean, 45 years I was married to my husband before he died. And I mean, it was just, learning the patience lesson was a big one for me, especially when we were doing something physical together. Like, he was an inventor, he made things, or when we were sailing and stuff like that. So patience is an enormous part of it. And you do want to kind of get in the rhythm of what that person is doing and the information they need. But that's pretty basic. Yeah. That isn't answering their questions. That's not, being totally upfront about what it is that, and giving them the information that they're asking for.
Right. Like the dimensions of a product. If you're going to ship it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on the same page. I get it. This is awesome. Okay. So what are some of the stumbling blocks? You've mentioned a lot of them, but what are some of the stumbling blocks that listeners might be having right now? And they're going, oh my God, Kristin, I need you so badly in my business.
Well, the first thing is if the vendor is like, leave me in my cave and leave me alone. That's especially bad in the AdWords or Google Ads area. We went through we kissed a lot of frogs before we found the princes that now do our Google Ads work. People who really are the people we have now are very much business people, and they understand what needs to be done, and they explain things to clients when we have all these statistics. So we it's very data driven. So you have to be careful of any vendor who's using their specific knowledge to make you feel stupid, which I think is just a crime. I hate it when people do that. The other thing you have to watch out for is one of the biggest problems we have when we pick up an account is that they don't know what their digital resources are. They don't know how to get into the back end of their website. They don't know how to get into their social. They don't know how to access any of their digital resources. Very bad, because if you switch agencies and they get upset, they might actually, we've got a client right now where the agency's saying, well, we're not going to give you that because you dropped us. And, I mean, these things happen. Oh yes, right? Very childish.
It's business.
Yeah, no, I know it's stupid. But the point is that as a business owner, this is your storefront. This is your business now. Our business is our online. We are digital, all of us. Yeah. So you really have to have that stuff fully under your control. Another big mistake people make is they pick one channel, like social or ads or content or something, or email marketing, whatever, and they put all their eggs in that basket. And it's a big mistake, partly because that basket might not be the right thing. So you have to find out from your customers if they'd even respond to that. And partly because you're not getting momentum from several. I do believe in multi-channel marketing. It does reinforce. The more we advertise, the more content gets paid attention to, and vice versa. It works. They work in tandem.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think when people see things when they're paying attention, they remember the things they saw when they weren't paying attention. So it becomes,
yes, that's a good way of putting it.
All of a sudden that ad pops up and they're like, hey, that's really
cool. That's right. I've seen that. I saw that somewhere else. Yeah, exactly. Yes. They do build on themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. And my other pet peeve that you touched on was when business owners don't own their assets. That drives me crazy. If you don't own your if you don't own your domain, you don't own your website, you don't own your your CRM, you need to own these things. Absolutely. And understanding what that means.
Yep. 100%.
Love it. Love it. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How do they start their journey with you?
You can just go to Google and type in Kristin Zhivago and you'll get pages and pages of stuff, because I've been around a long time and done a lot of writing. I write a lot of blogs, do a lot of podcasting. My goal in life is to finally get people to ask their customers how they want to be sold to.
Yay.
I mean, come on, let's all get on that train. And then maybe I can retire. I'm not retiring anytime soon because I'm still trying to get people to get over themselves, get past their own ego, and just okay, let's do this, and then ask the questions the right way. So that's
Love it.
one way. Our website is zhivagopartners.com. And the book Roadmap to Revenue, How to Sell the Way Your Customers Want to Buy, is on Amazon.
I love it. We will have all of Kristin's links in the show notes, peeps. So just scroll down and find the links and click on those. Absolutely. You are way too feisty to retire. I'm not seeing that happening.
Now I'm going to die at my keyboard. I know that already. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I get to ask you, at what point in your life did you know that you were special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I was selling rocks to housewives in the neighborhood when I was 5 years old, out of my little wagon. So honestly, I just grew up. My whole family was entrepreneurial. They were all into business for themselves. So I really kind of grew up in that environment. So I guess from the very beginning. Yeah.
Well, and your word must be getting out, because we have a bunch of little kids that were also selling rocks last year, and they were out selling hot chocolate at Christmas. And I went,
cool.
Hey, are you guys going to paint rocks again because my butterfly collection is starting to dim. So I need some more. Are you going to make them? And they're like, we'll make butterflies for you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first rule of revenue coaching. When I was teaching people, if somebody's standing at the door with money in their hand, you open the door and you let them in. You don't say, oh, I don't know. We haven't done that before. We don't know what to do. You just let them in and figure it out.
That's awesome. I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. Any last words for our peeps?
Yes. It's business to me is all about love. It's all about taking care of each other, your customers, your employees, and so on, and systems. We have to be good at systems and processes. Those two things together are what make business work.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thanks, Michelle.
Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.